In a display of military might, Russia unleashed a relentless avalanche of missiles and drones upon Ukraine early Monday morning, a direct and brutal response to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's recent military actions in the Kursk region. The coordinated assault involved around 20 UAV groups and over 100 missiles targeting 18 locations, including major cities such as Kyiv, Kherson, Odesa, and Dnipro. Authorities issued 29 alerts across the country to warn residents of the imminent strikes, underscoring the severity and scale of the attack. The assault, which struck Kyiv and numerous other cities, forced thousands to take shelter in metro stations and underground bunkers, marking one of the most intense attacks in recent weeks. The attack began just before 6 a.m. with air raid sirens wailing across Ukraine, signaling the start of Russia's comprehensive offensive. The use of 11 Tu-95 strategic bombers to launch a barrage of missiles marked a significant escalation. Ukrainian forces reported engaging multiple incoming missiles and drones, highlighting the scale of Russia's retaliation. Kyiv was hit particularly hard, with explosions rocking the city during the morning rush hour. Mayor Vitaly Klitschko reported widespread power outages and significant disruptions to the water supply in several districts. The damage to the city's energy infrastructure prompted DTEK, Ukraine's largest private energy company, to implement emergency power shutdowns across the nation. At least 3 people were reported killed. The barrage began around midnight and continued beyond daybreak Monday, in what appears to be Russia's biggest attack against Ukraine in weeks. Ukrainian Air Force reports indicated multiple groups of Russian drones moving toward eastern, northern, southern, and central regions, followed by numerous cruise and ballistic missiles. In a somber address to the nation, President Zelensky condemned the recent Russian assault, which he described as one of the largest combined attacks witnessed. The offensive involved over 100 missiles and nearly as many Shahd drones, targeting critical civilian infrastructure across Ukraine. Zelensky expressed deep sorrow for the fatalities reported from regions including Kharkiv, Kyiv, Odesa, and the western parts of the country, extending condolences to the victims' families and loved ones affected by the attack.
This was one of the largest combined attacks. Over 100 missiles of various types and around 100 shades were used. Like most previous Russian strikes, this one was cowardly and targeted critical civilian infrastructure. Unfortunately, there have been fatalities across most of our regions, from Kharkiv and Kyiv to Odesa and our western regions. My condolences to all the families and loved ones.
The assault has caused significant damage to Ukraine's energy sector, resulting in widespread power outages. Zelensky assured the public that restoration work is already underway, with repair teams working around the clock. He announced that points of invincibility will be opened in all affected cities and communities to ensure that essential services remain accessible despite the disruptions.
There is significant damage to the energy sector, but restoration work is already underway wherever there are power outages. Our repair teams will work around the clock. We will restore electricity. In all cities and communities that need it, points of invincibility should now be opened.
Addressing the need for international assistance, Zelensky highlighted the critical importance of adhering to agreements with Ukraine's allies concerning air defense systems and missile support. He emphasized that effective coordination between Ukrainian and European air forces could have mitigated the damage and protected lives more effectively. Zelensky noted that similar unity in defense operations, as seen in the Middle East, should be applied in Europe to ensure comprehensive protection.
It is very important that our partners fulfill the agreements we have made. Air defense systems, missiles for them, and finally, we must achieve joint downing of Russian missiles and drones. Today, their targets were in Volyn, Lviv, Ivano-Frankivsk, Vinnytsia, Khmelnytsky, and Ternopil regions. In various regions of Ukraine, we could have done much more to protect lives if the air forces of our European neighbors worked together with our F-16S and our air defense systems. If such unity was obviously effective in the Middle East, it should work in Europe too. Life has the same value everywhere.
In a forceful critique of Russian President Vladimir Putin, Zelensky described him as a sick creature whose actions are enabled by global inaction. He argued that the lack of strong responses only fuels further aggression and terror, calling on global leaders to make decisive and just decisions to end the conflict.
One more thing. Putin is consistent with himself. He is a sick creature. This has long been clear to everyone, but it is also clear that he can only do what the world allows him to do. Weakness and insufficient responses fuel terror. Every leader, every partner of ours knows what strong decisions are needed to end this war, justly.
Concluding his address, Zelensky called for an end to limitations on military support for Ukraine, stressing that such restrictions are unacceptable when Russia uses advanced weaponry, including those from North Korea. He urged key international partners, including the United States, Britain, and France, to provide the necessary support to help Ukraine counteract the ongoing aggression effectively.
There can be no limitations on range in Ukraine when the terrorists have no such limitations. There can be no restrictions on life-saving weapons when Russia uses all types of its own weapons, as well as shaeds and ballistic missiles from North Korea. America, Britain, France, and other partners have the power to help us stop terror. We need decisions.
Meanwhile, the escalation prompted Poland to activate its air defenses, deploying Polish and Allied aircraft to secure its airspace. This move raises concerns about the potential for further escalation and the involvement of additional regional actors in the conflict.